And he came up to me and my founder about 2 years ago. And he said, "You guys built my business."
Wow.
It's huge.
We
Yeah.
had a vested interest in him doing well because the better he did, the better we would do. So we shared it. We put his business in front of our audience. And
Right.
any good nonprofit is going to have a solid audience.
My business is just me, so I need a marketing plan that I actually have time to do.
I never studied marketing, but I know I have to do it. Sometimes I just need help knowing where to begin.
I never know if the money I spend on marketing is really paying off.
Welcome to Jottful's Marketing Made Easy. I'm Dawn Verbrigge, Jottful's CEO, two-time entrepreneur, former business school professor, and the one with the marketing experience.
And I'm Natalie Bruno, Dawn's partner in crime, certified people person, and the one who speaks with small business owners every day about their website and marketing challenges.
We're here to have practical and fun conversations with people who know a thing or two or three about how to get more customers for your business. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm really excited about our conversation today with Sheryl Green, in part because when Natalie and I started Jottful, or rather when I first recruited Natalie, sort of reeled her in to join me at Jottful, one of the first things we talked about was how we really wanted to make this be the kind of company that we wanted to work for. And so this is kind of really built into the culture at Jottful, and it's been there since the very beginning. But Natalie came from a nonprofit background. And so you just have tons of experience in not only sort of how you can build the company that you want to work at, but also how you can really support the community. And so you must be thrilled about today's episode.
Yeah, I was really excited actually to meet Sheryl. I remember when we met her through recruiting members for Jottful Community. I think you and Sheryl actually talked and you're like, oh my gosh, you have to talk to Natalie. Natalie, you have to talk to Sheryl because we have these common interests, and my background is in the nonprofit world. And as you said, Dawn, it's so important to both of us to build the kind of company that we've always wanted to work for. And so seeing how those two things can be married is a really interesting thing. And Sheryl's actually written a book about it. But one piece I'll offer just before she comes on, and I think she'll touch on this today too. There's a piece of having worked at a nonprofit for 11 years. The whole ecosystem of nonprofits requires the generosity of board members and corporations and foundations and the general community. So it's just built into the model. And I think one of the most important things for businesses like ours and like our customers and anyone who wants to engage in this kind of relationship and marketing is, making sure that whatever that is offered to the nonprofit is something that they really need. And then I know from being the one that's on the receiving end so much, I know how much time and energy goes into like thanking and promoting and doing anything that we can to help the businesses who are helping us. That was sort of the mentality in the nonprofit world.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sheryl's joining us today, and do you want to bio her in?
Yeah, sure. So Sheryl Green is a New York native living and thawing in Las Vegas since 2008. I very much appreciate that. After a devastating divorce, Sheryl discovered the power of storytelling and has brought her love of the craft to fiction, nonfiction, and the content writing for small businesses. A passionate animal advocate, Sheryl serves as the Director of Communications for Hearts Alive Village. And after years of begging for donations, she learned about cause marketing and now helps businesses and nonprofits work together for the betterment of both. She's the author of 4 books, including Once Upon a Bottom Line, Harnessing the Power of Storytelling in Sales, and Do Good to Do Better, the Small Business Guide to Growing Your Business by Helping Nonprofits. In her spare time, she likes to hike with her dogs and tend to too many houseplants to count. And I think you'll notice this theme of house or office plants when she comes on today. So Sheryl, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on, ladies.
Sheryl, I think the first place to get started is really with a definition, because when I hear the word cause marketing, to be honest, it feels a little bit squishy and I'm not exactly sure. Is this really quantifiable? Is this legit marketing, or is this just something that we as business owners could do to make ourselves feel a little bit better?
Sure. So cause marketing is actually a very narrow term. I'm going to use it in the broader version. So the narrow term of cause marketing is a point of sale. It's basically you go up to the register and they ask you to donate money, and you do. That's cause marketing really in a nutshell. The way that I like to look at it is really businesses and nonprofits, like in my intro, working together for the betterment of both. Yeah. If you just keep donating and donating and donating as a business and you don't get anything in return, you're going to go out of business. And it was sad the day I realized that, because I always came from the nonprofit side, which was like, why can't you do everything for me for free? I don't understand. And then I started my own business and it was like, oh, that's right. Okay, now I get it. So if you kind of look at it, the most common example, the most well-known is going to be Tom's Shoes. Now, their business plan has actually changed. However, they started out, the owner went to, I believe it was Argentina, saw the extreme poverty and said, I want to do something. These people have no shoes. And he said, I can go back to America and I can ask all of my friends and all of my family to donate money. And I can bring a bunch of shoes over there, but eventually they're going to need new shoes. And how many times can I hit up the same people? And he actually developed his business plan and his entire business model around this buy one, give one, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But so that there is this constant revenue stream. And with that revenue stream, there's also a donation stream.
Yeah, it's actually a rather brilliant model, I think. And there are people who have picked up on that because there's so much merit to it, and it can make such an impact on both sides that, others have done it. And it's not one of these things that has become such a copycat thing, because the inherent good, I think, that comes from it, right? If you do it from an authentic place, both sides just reap the benefits, right? So what are the benefits of incorporating giving into your business? Can you talk some tangibly about that?
Yeah, of course. So there's going to be a bunch of different ones. The first is really you're going to attract your tribe. A lot of us went into our business for ourselves because, frankly, we were tired of dealing with customers we didn't like.
Good
right?
point.
And we couldn't do anything about it when it came to, working for another person or working for a company. We couldn't change that. But now we have the option to work with people that we want to work with. And who better to serve than people that have the same morals as you, the same beliefs as you, the same passions as you. So kind of like attracting those people to you is one of the main benefits of this.
And you mean that, I assume, in multiple senses, right? So attracting the right kind of customers, attracting the right kind of employees, maybe even attracting the right kind of investors, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you want to work with your tribe. You want to work with those people that are like-minded in every facet of your business. So that's kind of the first benefit. You also have the benefit of getting in front of more people, and kind of differentiating yourself from the competition. So a lot of my examples have to do with animal rescue because that's the world that I live in. But I would say it's probably about 4 years now. I was at an event and we had a table set up and some guy came over and said, oh, I love what you're doing. I really want to help you with my business. And I went, oh, okay, yay. Because I usually get about 10 of those conversations anytime we go out and none of them pan out. But he actually followed up with me a week later. He is an insurance guy. And He said, I'm looking for a cause to support. I've been looking for one for a while. This matters to me. He told me this touching story about a pit bull that he had as a child and how it was his best friend. And he said, this is something that matters to me and I want to help. And he said, and honestly, I need the help too. And I'll never forget what he said. He said, you can't step out to the corner and throw a rock without hitting an insurance guy.
That's like the old you can't swing an elephant analogy.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, how many of us know, 5, 10, 15, especially if you're out there networking,
Sure.
like every
Absolutely.
other person is selling insurance.
Yep.
But he was able to differentiate himself that way. And he came up to me and my founder about 2 years ago. And he said, you guys built my business.
Wow.
It's huge.
Yeah.
We had a vested interest in him doing well because the better he did, the better we would do.
Mm-hmm.
So we shared it. We put his business in front of our audience. And
Right.
any good nonprofit is going to have a solid audience. So
Yeah.
it's just, and you can go with the it's expected now, honestly, especially with millennials really, I don't want to say taking over both the workforce and the purchasing force, but it's expected.
Mm-hmm.
They and all ages want to know that your business is in it for more than just making money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to think that if that insurance agent walked up to the American Red Cross, though, he's not going to get the same kind of exposure that he might get by working with you, right? Because you expose him to your entire audience. Can you talk a little bit about how, as business owners, we should go about choosing the nonprofit partners that we work with? Does it have to be somebody that we have sort of the personal, I had a pit bull as a child relationship with?
So it's a great question, and I want to start out with the size of the nonprofit, because I think that is something that as solopreneurs, as entrepreneurs, as these tiny little businesses, we go and I want to help this huge organization. They're going to get me in front of so many people, and it's going to be awesome. And nothing against the large organizations; they're doing good work out there. They don't care about us. They just don't. Us donating $50, $100, $1,000 to them is just a tiny little drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So choose an organization that's around the same size as what you're doing. Go for those local organizations that aren't just going to send you the receipt in the mail, but they're going to be like, oh, hey, let me post this on my Facebook. Like, let me stick it in our newsletter. Come to an event with us and talk about it. That kind of thing. So selecting a smaller organization is going to be one of the main things that you want to do. In terms of choosing one, so there's different opinions on this. I'm sharing mine. My opinion is, especially for that authenticity that Natalie was talking about earlier, have it be something that you have a personal connection. I always talk about that importance of story and really connecting with your audience. If you care about animals, if you were poor as a child and, relied on others for support, if somebody in your family is a veteran, if you lost somebody to cancer, whatever it may be, find that cause that you care about that really matters to you. And that's my opinion. There are other schools of thought that say that your cause should directly tie into your business. So if you're a restaurant, you should be helping, a food bank, stuff like that. And that can work. That absolutely can work. I'm just so, I just believe so much in that power of story and really connecting on an emotional level.
Do you think that's partly because if you're a restaurant helping a food bank, there's an in-kind contribution you could make in addition to just a financial contribution? Is that why people would recommend that?
I think it's important, to be able to do those in-kind contributions as well, but it's more of a branding perspective. What does this have to do with your business? So, and that's why the different schools of thought, you have to do what feels right for you and try it. If something's not working, tweak it, add in a second nonprofit if you want to do it that way, so you can still support what you really care about. But yeah, it's completely up to the business owner. The one thing that I will suggest is there's actually a way to get your followers involved before you actually start, which is kind of cool.
Good point.
And going back to the rescue, I was on Facebook one day and I just happened to be on at that exact moment. And there was a company, they're a poop scooping company called Oh Crap, which is just brilliant. Seriously, I love them. But they put on there that they wanted to donate money to a rescue, and they wanted to work with a rescue. And they said, who do you guys recommend? I got tagged in that post. I jumped on it. We've been working together ever since. Mm-hmm. But just so you understand why that's so powerful. One, you started before you actually gave $1. You're already supporting, you're already showing people that you care about something. Mm-hmm. Two, you're getting that feedback from your audience. And there are hundreds of animal rescues in Las Vegas, hundreds. Some of them are, let's face it, better than others. Everybody's doing good work, but some of them have it together a little bit more. And this allowed them to find out who's got a good reputation. And reputation is super important when it comes to cause marketing for both the business and the nonprofit.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they got to start it ahead of time. They got that feedback. And they also got people more involved. And that's one of the keys to cause marketing is we love being the hero of something. You allow people to help choose. Now they have feedback. They have a stake in the game. They're going to be even more concerned and even more devoted to your campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as I'm listening to both of these stories, I'm finding myself thinking through, okay, what actually happened? What did they actually do? How did that go from this connection and idea and you're the right organization to, the insurance person saying like you helped, you made our business, right? What are some of the campaigns, if you can describe some of the actual campaigns that people can, or that I think that some of the examples that you've shared have done, I think it would help people think tangibly about their own.
Sure. Mm-hmm. So if you, there's hundreds. I mean, the sky is the limit when you think about what you can do here. I'm just going to give a couple of examples that you can kind of build off of. So the first one is that traditional cause marketing. So that point of sale campaign, we've all done it. We've all walked into a restaurant or the grocery store or Petco or whatever, and you go and you're at the register and you're checking out and they say, would you like to donate $1 to children's cancer?
Yeah, or it's usually something like, do you like animals?
Yeah.
So say yes to donate $1.
Yes. And so when you see that on the little checkout pad, those are two different types of campaigns. When the cashier asks you, it's called active. When you see that little thing, that little question that just pops up, it's passive. Mm-hmm. So it can go for longer, but it's not quite as powerful as having somebody actually interact with you and maybe tell you a little bit about the organization. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think,
frankly, just guilt you into doing it because you don't want to verbalize the no, I don't like animals.
Yeah, that's...
It's funny. I didn't realize, I love hearing you say this, but I didn't know that was cause marketing until you're putting it in this bucket. But that happens all the time. And I find myself watching my own reaction. Are they going to ask me this time? Or am I still going to give if they don't? And I'm just sort of in the habit of it that now it's just a game to figure out when they're going to do it or not.
Well, now you can add was that active or passive
You're right.
to your conversation? I think one of the most important things, and this is where nonprofits and businesses alike both kind of, I don't want to say fail, but they drop the ball, is educate your cashiers. And that is on the part of the nonprofit as well. I'm going to have a vested interest as a cashier if I know what this organization does. Instead of just rattling off, do you want to donate to children's cancer? You know,
Right.
It's going to be a lot more passionate and informative if the nonprofit has the opportunity to go in and say, hey, this is what we do, or come see us, come check us out. So just a little tip to kind of up your game on that. Another campaign that you can do is it's called hold on. I took the note down because it's been a while since I read my own book. So please excuse me. There you go. It's action triggered. So whereas the point of sale, that's the customer donating. That's not the company. They may choose to match it or something like that. But that's literally the customer saying, yes, you can take an extra dollar, put an extra dollar on my credit card.
Yeah.
The buy one, give one is going to be kind of your action triggered. If you do something, I will do something. And that's, what Tom's went with. That's not feasible for everybody. And my guinea pig throughout this entire experience, when I sat down to write my book, I was sitting there with my friend Joe. He is my brother from another mother. And I said, I just need to prove that this works. And he went, okay. He's like, I want to do it. He's a mortgage loan officer and he was doing okay, doing pretty good. We picked out a charity that he cared about, and he's a Rotary member. So they have a program called Happy Feet, and they would go into the schools and literally put shoes and socks on kids whose parents couldn't afford it.
Awesome.
And we discussed, how can you help? How are we going to structure this? And he said, well, it's about $20 for a pair of shoes. What if for every loan I close, I donate 5 pairs of shoes? Very easy, very simple. And it's better for people to grasp. Because again, it's that if you do this, I do this. And now we know the exact, equalness. That's not a word. Anyway.
Well, the value, but I
you.
love that he's defining the value as the number of children who will have shoes as opposed to $100, right? Which just doesn't tug at the heart the same way.
Yeah. And you don't know what $100 buys.
Right.
So, so a year later, we kind of sat down and went through everything. He had donated 200 pairs of shoes.
Wow.
During this year. It was the best year he ever had. And kind of speaking back to those benefits, he differentiated himself from everybody else. And he had one great story. A potential customer was sitting in front of him and they said, it's between you and Chase. And he said, absolutely. He goes, Chase is a great company. They're going to do a wonderful job for you. I'm going to do a wonderful job for you. And it was almost like an afterthought. He went, but if you close a loan with me, I actually donate 5 pairs of shoes to children in Title I schools.
Ding.
Yeah.
Signed on the dotted line. So this year, he's actually expanded that program. It's not just helping kids now. He's also supporting our rescue. And I think the cool thing to mention here is he's literally having the best year of his life. Refinance rates are, interest rates are crazy low. He doesn't need the help. Now he's doing it because he can.
Yeah, it's become his way of being in business. Awesome.
So what are some of the other implications of cause marketing? I've got to think that there are legal implications, tax implications, other things we should be thinking about. Yeah. And also how can we as businesses sort of establish goals around this? Because I'm a marketer, right? So I want every campaign to have some kind of objective.
When I went to write this book, I have to be honest, I lived in this little fluffy world where nobody did anything wrong to each other. There's like unicorns hopping around in my head. It's very pretty in there. So as I was reading one of the books, it said, this cause marketing attorney in Las Vegas. And I was like, why would you need a cause marketing attorney? Like, why would anybody do anything bad I know, I sound like an idiot. But I actually sat down with him a couple of weeks later. I got an appointment with him, and we kind of went through the important things that honest people don't think about. Mm-hmm. I think that's the nicest way I can put that. Mm-hmm. And he said, the number one thing is really transparency. You need to show exactly what is happening when they do business with you. Mm-hmm. If you start looking at, products and advertisements out there, now you're going to see cause marketing all over the place. So you're welcome. But you're going to notice things like a portion of the proceeds go to.
Oh, this is a pet peeve for me because the word proceeds exists nowhere on the income statement, and yet you always see people donating a portion of the proceeds. Like, what does that even mean? It's like after we pay ourselves almost all of the money.
Yes. And that's actually one of the problems is, you throw an event for a nonprofit. So you're getting all these benefits. One, you're in front of their audience. Two, you get free PR. Three, you probably get to use their tax ID number, so you get some stuff donated to you, or at least get no sales tax, like all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And then you say a portion of the proceeds. Well, just like you said, what does that mean? That means that after the caterer is paid, the venue is paid, the extremely fancy swag bags are made, whatever, the photographer, the blah, blah, blah. After all of that is done, we have $11 left over. Here you go. So it's super, super important that you are upfront. The cost of the door, if it's an event, all tickets purchased will go to the nonprofit, something like that. If you're doing, action triggered, like, when you buy a book, all of my books, I donate $2 to the animal rescue. Before this one, it was a portion of the proceeds. And then
before you talk to the lawyer.
Because I knew that in my heart, like, when I get money in, I'm going to donate it. Like, there was no question for me, because that's my thought pattern. But there are bad people out in the world, and they do ugly things. So be transparent. Make it very easy for people to figure out, if I do this, this is going to happen. Yeah. $2, 20% of my $100 purchase, whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
Super tangible. Yeah. Lots of examples. Yeah. Just make it very easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. So that's a huge thing. And then, so Dawn, you were asking about kind of the goal setting, and look, this isn't going to be as clear cut, maybe, as some other marketing things that you can do, just to be honest. However,
it's difficult to set goals for almost every campaign we run. I admit that. Yeah. Natalie's like,
maybe it is just as clear cut. But really, the way that you're going to figure out if it works is by knowing in the very beginning, what am I trying to do? Mm-hmm. There are a bunch of different factors that you can actually judge on. Like, if I go into a campaign saying I want to increase awareness for myself and for this nonprofit, then you're looking at something like Facebook likes, or the open rate on your email campaign or something like that. If you are looking to increase business, then you can see, just like Joe did, what happened at the end of the year. How many shoes did I donate? So how did I help the nonprofit? And how much money did I make this year? And how does that compare to next? Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on what was your goal. It becomes a little bit less clear cut with some of the other kind of, I don't want to call them campaign ideas, because it's more of building up your brand and your giving to the community being a part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just as an example, one of the companies that I found when I was writing the book, every time I talk about this, I get goosebumps. Their name is Greystone Bakery,
Mm-hmm.
and their motto or their mission statement is, "We don't hire people to bake brownies. We bake brownies to hire people."
Oh, I love that.
So good.
So good.
It's crazy. Like, if you actually think about that, and it's like, wow, so hold on. So money is not the bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Or they have a double bottom line,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like you have to make money, you have to do well, and you will do better. But at the same time, like, you are providing a service, you are making people feel good about themselves, you are standing for something other than a dollar.
All right, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much, Sheryl, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this episode of Marketing Made Easy, please subscribe to Jottful's YouTube channel. That's JOTTFUL. That way, you'll never miss an episode. We'll meet you on the next one.